Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Coach Lyle, and you are tuning in live at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. on the East Coast to the Hitting Vault Coaches Members Only weekly Q&A. And so if you are just tuning in tonight, do me a favor. One of my favorite things about hosting these Q&As is seeing who's tuning in and where you're tuning in from. So a little bit of homework. If you're paying attention, you're watching on Facebook right now, let me know where you're tuning in from. Hit that like button just to let me know you're here, and then start thinking about what questions you're going to have, because tonight I've got a special guest with me, Patrick Jones. He's a minor league hitting coach with the Baltimore Orioles, a great follow on Twitter, and we'll talk about that a little bit today too. He's got just amazing content out there. I've just really enjoyed following him. And so, Patrick, welcome to the Q&A tonight, and I appreciate you being on.
Hey, thanks, Matt, for having me. Excited to be here.
All right, buddy. So Patrick's on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. And again, I know a lot of people are tuning in from all over the country. So if you are tuning in tonight, let me know where you're tuning in from and start getting those Q&As ready for hitting, because I got Patrick with me, a minor league hitting coach of the Baltimore Orioles. I'm here, so it's going to be a great night. We'll have a little bit of fun. We'll answer questions for you guys. So any questions you guys have around hitting or coaching hitters, we're here to help you tonight, and we want to provide the most value as possible. So let's see, we got some people starting to trickle in here. Rick is tuning in from Miami. Nice. He's on the East Coast too, but probably a little bit warmer than you are, Patrick, right now, my guess.
Yeah, I think it's about 25 degrees right in Cincinnati.
25 degrees. Woo! Nice and chilly where you're at. So, Patrick, tell us, where are you right now in the off season before you head off to spring training? Where do you live? Tell us a little bit about you.
So I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, born and raised here. Went to college here at Xavier University, played there, and yeah, just been here my whole life and have my own. I have I know you've seen it, Matt, when you were on my podcast, but I have my own cage, and so I work with hitters in the off season at all skill levels, from big leaguers down to junior high kids. So that's pretty much what I do. And then I'm excited just to get ready to go to spring training, just because, again, I think I saw on Sunday the low is 1 degrees.
Whoo!
Weather, so I'm I'm ready to roll.
And you guys will be in a nice, warm, sunny spot in spring training. So that will definitely be nice. Hey, if you're just tuning in, you're a Hitting Vault Coach member, let us know where you're tuning in from. I see someone's tuning in from Wisconsin, and we got Miami. So we got some people from all over the country tuning in. And I wish I had brought a picture to put on the broadcast, but Patrick doesn't just have a batting cage. He has a batting cage in his house. And I'll tell you what, like, that is my dream. Probably not my wife's dream, but my dream is to have a batting cage in my house. And so, I am very jealous of your setup. And again, for everyone who's doing it, maybe I'll put a picture up later of his cage in his house. It's really cool. So if you're just tuning in, this is the Hitting Vault Coaches Members Only Q&A. So get your questions rolling. We're going to have a lot of good time tonight. We got some people tuning in. We got Cape Cod, Massachusetts, 34 degrees. Atlanta, Georgia, it's 28 degrees there. I'll tell you what, in sunny San Francisco Bay Area, California today, it was probably 60 degrees and sunny. It was nice today, kind of a typical day. And I think our forecast for the week is mid 60s. So, one of the advantages of being on the West Coast sometimes is we avoid the earthquakes as much as we can, but we also get some sun as well. So, hey, Patrick, my first question for you is, when you first get a hitter to come to you, like let's say it's a junior high kid, and they first come to you and say, "Hey, Patrick, I see what you kind of put online. I want you to be my hitting coach. I want you to help my son get better or daughter get better." What does that first lesson look like? What is the very first things you're doing to try to, do your best to get a plan together for this kid?
I would say the first thing that I'm doing is trying to really read the kid, read his body language, seeing, or is he connecting with me? I mean, throughout the session. I mean, obviously that's after I get to know him and ask him a bunch of questions, and the family too. I'm someone, I actually like giving lessons when the parent's right there, because that way we're all on the same page versus just dropping their kid off and then coming back later. A lot of times they miss, the kid, he may be paying attention, he may not be, but if the parent's there, then the message is really more than likely to be instilled. So I do like having the parents in there. I like asking a ton of questions just about their background. Honestly, a big part is just what they want out of this too. I've had some kids just honestly say, "I just want to have fun, and I really don't care about playing in college," and that's totally cool. We'll get the hit tracks fired up. We'll try to hit as many home runs as we can and have fun. So there's nothing wrong with that. But it's always good to ask that question so you now know that versus so there's some kids are like, I want to play in the big leagues. Like, okay, that's a completely different standard you just set right there, and we're gonna have to go about things a little bit differently. So, that's what I like to do. I utilize HitTrax. I love HitTrax. I love the new video delay system on it, and just
Yeah,
because I just have one cage, and it's in a building that's perfectly for one cage. I can utilize the video delay system, so we can take a swing, look at it, talk to the kid like, hey, what do you see here? And it just allows to get everyone to get on the same page in a much faster
yeah,
way than anything else. Just because that way we're not having to stop anything or this and that. It's boom right away. So I mean that's just like what I like to do when I'm first starting to work with a kid. But a big part of it is just reading his body language, reading, when he does struggle during that session, what does he do? And I think that's a big part of coaching and something that I've really tried to focus a lot more on the past year or so.
that's great. And I'll tell you, parents, when it comes to technology and data out there, I'll tell you, if you want younger kids to have fun, I'll tell you, when I bought my HitTrax system a few years ago, I didn't realize, and I bought it for my major league players, that I didn't realize how much fun they would have with it, and how like competitive nature came out of them, and the distance and the gamified version of that made it really fun. So I'm not saying that you have to go get lessons from someone that has a HitTrax or all the fun data stuff, but I can say in my experience, I'm sure the same for you, for kids, when they get some of that data, the miles per hour, they get to see the distance and some of that gamified stuff. It seems like they have a little bit more fun in the lesson than they do, if you don't have the technology. Have you noticed that at all since you've had some of the bells and whistles?
Oh, completely. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I could ever go back without it now.
Me
Now that
too.
I see just how, and honestly, I mean, I was talking to Adam Rosales. You're out in San Francisco,
Yeah.
so he's played for Oakland. I think he coaches with him now.
Yep.
He used to use HitTrax as a player, and he loved it. So I think a lot even older players, even big leaguers, and you would know this, really well, but they like that too. They like that instant
Yep.
feedback too. So I think it's just at all ages. I think it's a great product. Probably the best. I'm trying to think of another product that's better than that on the market. Now I get it; it's not cheap, but it's
Yeah.
definitely worth it. I mean, you get what you pay for. So, yeah, the kids love it. They, I had a parent tell me on the car ride over tonight. They were all taking, placing bets with each other on who was going to win the competition for exit velocity, and that's just it's fun.
That's
I
it
want to
right
make it
there.
fun for these kids, and it gets them pumped up. They feel a little bit of pressure, which I think is always a good thing, when their friends are watching, and it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And I'll tell you guys, for me, I expected to get the data from it, but one of the things that I learned really quickly, at least with our major league players, was the competitive nature it creates in the cage. When you see someone else's exit velocity 102, and then you get into the cage, all of a sudden, they start getting competitive with each other. Like you're saying, the kids in the car ride are making bets on who's gonna win. And I'll tell you, as a coach, that's some of the hardest parts in practice or anything else is trying to create that competitive culture. And that's the one thing I've really enjoyed about data or the HitTrax is that when you give data, even if it's a stopwatch and you do races, around the bases, whenever you put a time on it or miles per hour, the kids always seem to enjoy that a little bit more than just going through the motions and going through the drill. So that's really cool. I like that you said that. So now the next question coming in. Is about data. If you're a parent and you've got a high school kid and you're getting into the data game, or you're hearing all about exit speed and bat sensors, and you don't have a big budget, where would you recommend that people start from a data standpoint? If you're a parent, what do you think? What's the first thing? I've got a couple $100. Where should you invest your money?
I personally think for the best bang for your buck is a blast motion sensor. I think it's a great product. If you're specifically looking at buying something in the technology realm, I would say a blast motion sensor, just because it tracks bat speed. So again, we can get into the competitive aspect of it again. It's affordable. It's within that couple $100 range, and honestly, if you're someone who is a parent and may not know even a ton about the swing, I think they do a good job explaining all
Hmm.
the metrics on there. And so it can help educate you on the swing and your kids' swing so you'll be able to help them even more down the road. So I like blast motion. I think it's again, it's the best bang for your buck if you're looking for some sort of piece of technology to help out with your son. And I think your son's, or daughter, whoever would really like it too. And like to look at the numbers and track their progress over time. I think that's such a thing that you can, when you really see yourself getting better and the numbers show that too, I get it's really motivating to continue to work and get better.
Yeah, that's totally true. So, hey, awesome. So, if you're just tuning in right now, it is 7:11 p.m. on the West Coast. It's past 10 p.m. on the East Coast. Hey, if you're tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. I see Miami, Wisconsin, Georgia, Maryland, another Georgia, Iowa, some people from all over the country, and we're hosting tonight a Q&A. I've got Baltimore Orioles minor league hitting coach Patrick Jones with me, and we're answering your questions about hitting. So get your questions in the time that we have, and let's get this thing rolling. Hey, the next question, Patrick, is, and you've worked in the cage a lot. You've had your first year, kind of a pro ball. What's the biggest difference when spring training starts and you're working with minor league players? What's the biggest difference between doing cage work in your facility with hitters, and then as the season starts and games are starting and you got to play a 120 plus game schedule in the minor leagues? How do you navigate that? What is that like as a hitting coach, and what do you do, because you can't really do big swing overhauls in the middle of April and May, right? So what is it like? How has that been for you, and what is that like to work with hitters in the cages before games and after games? All the pre work you get put in. What are you guys working on? How does that work?
Yeah, so I think that's a great point. You really, once the season starts, you're playing every day, and that's what makes baseball so much different than any other sport. Is you have a game every single day. So I think that the main thing is just getting guys ready for that day's game. With that, whoever the pitcher is, and that is another great piece of technology and data is, you're able to see what that pitcher can throw and what type of movement his pitches have, and that allows you to help your hitters and game plan for them,
Yeah.
and set up environments that maybe simulate that day's pitcher too. But for me, I think the biggest thing is making sure that these guys are going up there with confidence. Their mental game is on point. They know their own swing. They trust their approach, and getting them to understand that there's gonna be days when they don't feel good, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think so many times players want to fight that. They expect to always feel good or always feel confident, and you don't have to feel confident to play good. I think it was Ken Reviza who originally was quoted with that, but I'm a big believer in that, just because if you can go up there, if you're 0 for 3 and that fourth at bat, you're not feeling that very well, but you can sneak out a hit or sneak out a quality at bat over the course of the season. I mean, that's really going to make or your entire year. And when we're talking about baseball, and I know, Matt, you're really into data and probably know more just from analytical side than I do. But it doesn't take much to really change, your entire season's numbers, and it really is something that you don't want to give up at bats and things like that. So for me, it just goes back to preparing them for that day's pitcher, and then making sure that mentally they're in a good state. I want to be pumping those guys up all the time. I want to, it can't be, it's not fake, but I want them thinking and believing that they belong out there, that they belong to play in the big leagues someday, because I think that's just so crucial to having success in baseball.
Yeah, and the minor leagues and in the big leagues, the biggest thing is mindset and trying to grind it out. And I forget who said it best, but someone said, if I one hit a week is the difference between being a Hall of Famer or not being in the lineup, or something along those lines. Like the perspective of, again, like if you can just have one more better at bat per week, it could be the difference. And that's really the mindset they have to have. So that's really good. The next question is, what are some of your favorite tools to use with hitters that are non-tech? I think that's a good question. I'll let you take that one. And what do you think? Some of the tools you like to use that are non-tech.
So I would say I like to use medicine balls, just because you can, because it is heavy, right? Let's just say it's 8 pounds, so you can really feel your weight transfer when you're using a medicine ball. Like sometimes I'll have guys just retrace their swing with a medicine ball, and when they're able to, when they're doing that with the actual medicine ball, they can really feel what their body is doing in space because of how heavy the medicine ball is. So I like to utilize the medicine ball. I will do some different PVC movements, just because, again, I think when you're in a team setting, not everyone can always be in the cage hitting. So sometimes it's nice to have guys do stuff outside of the cage that's movement based, and helping them move more efficiently. So I think the medicine ball, there's a ton of different things you can do with that. There's different medicine ball variations, and getting guys to understand, what it should feel like to stay in your back hip, and not just get in your back hip, but to stay in it throughout your move. So I think that's huge. So I would say for me, the medicine ball, and then just a PVC pipe too, when we're talking
Yeah.
about non-tech.
Yeah, I would say those are probably the two biggest that we use in the cages a lot. I would say I'm a big fan of hitting plyo balls. Plyo balls is something I really enjoy, and kind of we do a lot of different weighted bats and very length bats and short bats and heavy bats. I'm a big fan of. I don't use as much as I used to, but for one-handed drills and stuff, I like to use the insider bat with the squeeze balls, and just I'll do some like one-handed work with that a little bit. I'm trying to think of any other tools that we like to use, but I would say plyo balls, and we do, like I said, a lot of PVC pipe, a lot of med ball work, and I would say those are probably the two most things that we do. So here's an interesting question. I'll start off the answer on this one. The question is, what is a good drill for dropping your back shoulder or getting under the ball versus driving the ball? Now, I want to make sure, because every time I get this question, I want to define what dropping your back shoulder is, because I can tell you last year coaching at Fresno State, I had a senior player. She was a stud, and working with her the first week, she said, "You know what? You keep telling me to drop my back shoulder, and my dad says never drop my back shoulder. I've always been taught never drop my back shoulder." And she was a senior in college that's had a lot of success. And I said, "Well, let's define that." So when I think dropping your back shoulder is a good thing. And when I say that, I'm referring to once the swing starts and I get my heel down, and I'm creating side bend and I'm trying to create this, I do want the back shoulder to drop. But a lot of times when you hear, especially little league coaches or young coaches, talk about dropping the back shoulder, a lot of times we're talking about it when the hitter is striding. As they're going forward, they're losing their posture. I use the term, or they're starting to drop their back shoulder just one stage too early. So all that to say, like, I'm a big fan of dropping the back shoulder just at the right time, and so that's some of the definition. So, but having said that, if you have a hitter that's getting under the ball all the time, that would be the first thing I would look at is, are they dropping their back shoulder after their heel's getting down or in the process of that? Or is it when they're striding? That's like, there's a big difference there. So take a look at that thing before you say that. And then two, if it is, they are maintaining their posture, and then, or attacking posture we like to talk about, and then they are dropping their back shoulder at the right time. I would start looking at the first thing we see from a lot of kids, at least older kids, is they're, dumping the barrel. Their first move really is not so much that their shoulders are dropping, but, their hands are just dumping the barrel. So, I wanted to define that a little bit, but Patrick, as we get into the question, and someone, he says, yes, to clarify, they are dropping it early, or front shoulders coming up prior to foot strike. All right, so that's great. So, Patrick, any advice you have to kids who, again, in their stride, they're going forward. They've got this good attacking posture, but as soon as they start going forward, they're losing it, dropping that back shoulder too early. Anything you would advise or a drill that you might be able to give that could help that?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just in the cage, hour and a half ago, and this is exactly what was going
Perfect.
on with the player. So it was great. So what first things first that we did is I identified it, and again I mentioned the video delay that HitTrax has, so we were able to literally just watch it, and so I explained it to him like, hey, do you see your in your gather, right? What's happening is you're tilting backwards, and then as you're striding forward, by the time you land, your front shoulder is way above your back shoulder. He completely understood it. It's like, okay, like good. That's first things first. So what I want you to do is I don't want you to really think at all about loading at all, like or gathering or whatever. All I want you to think about is just picking up your front hip and going forward. And I say picking up the front hip because for what I believe that like this particular player, what was happening is as he was going back, he was reaching with his front
Mm-hmm.
foot forward. So it was kind of like that, right? You're reaching your toe into the water. So by telling him to pick up his front foot and go forward, he was able to make his movement more so into balance and be in a better position. So I think it is a feel thing, and for him because we would go back and forth, like, okay, how does that feel? How does that feel? But I think it can help to just start off of honestly on the tee, because when this particular kid did it he did it off the tee. He did it no matter what we were doing. So getting it right off of the tee first. Okay, we can do it off the tee. Perfect. Now let's move to soft toss. Okay, we can do it soft toss. Great. Now I'm going to throw and then machine. And then each time we're going to see like, okay, is this sticking or not? Now, if it comes to specific drills, I do like split grip. I think that can help. I think for some players, they have too much time, and what I mean by that is if we're doing machine, for example, and they load really early, and go back really early, that can cause them, in my experience, to drop that back shoulder as they're striding versus telling them, hey, I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to be in your stance, nice and relaxed. And then right as I'm about to release the ball, I want you to make your move to go and swing. And that gives them less time to really go back and load or do anything like that. So that would be what my first thing would be, what's their setup or stance, because I think that your stance should help you set up your first move. So I think that's where we get into trouble is if our first move is really loading back or tilting over, then as we stride we're going to start really reaching with that front foot and dropping our back shoulder as we go forward. So getting them to understand what they're doing and what you want them to do is huge. And I think I keep mentioning the video delay system. I just think anytime you can show them the right and wrong way, they can put those bullet points together, and it allows them to make those changes.
Yeah, the video aspect is just so important because I just see you see so many light bulbs go on like, oh, that's what I look like because does that
Yeah.
that's not what I feel and seeing it and that connection is really really important. So and aside, this is my own question for you, a little side note question. For me, I love the split grip drill. I do it a lot, especially for hitters who like to pull off the ball, and it helps for them. Really helps with direction with this. But you kind of mentioned it a little bit in regards to posture. Talk to me a little bit about how do you utilize the split grip drill. I'm actually kind of curious. When you utilize it, what are you utilizing it for? You got expand on that a little bit for me.
So sometimes what I'll do with the split grip is I'll have them. I'm sure you've done this. Where just have them swing right off of the shoulder, especially if we're working on someone who is maybe getting a little
Yeah.
long or casting their hands away. So I'll have them split grip, and you have to be a little bit careful because some kids will get pushy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a particular player who is dumping the barrel a little bit or something like that, I'll just say like, hey, I want you to split grip, and I want you to think of taking your top hand and think of it just like a hammer. So we're going right off of your shoulder, and I want you to think of your top hand just like a hammer going right into the ball. And that may sound a little old school or whatever, but I have seen it help
Yeah.
some hitters. And if it helps one, I think it can help others. And again,
Yep.
it's not for everyone, but doing the split grip right off of the shoulder preset, so we're not making really any other moves,
Yeah.
just to get them to feel being connected to the baseball.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's great. All right. If you're just tuning in, somehow you missed it, you can go back and watch it later. But I'm sitting down with special guest Patrick Jones. He's a minor league hitting coach with the Baltimore Orioles, and I appreciate him giving a lot of great answers tonight to a lot of you guys' questions. So we've got about 5 minutes left. So if you got a question for Patrick or myself, or just in hitting in general, get it in the chat room quick, because we're going to be wrapping this thing up in a few minutes. So the next question on here says, what are your thoughts on some of the new training bats on the market, such as Camwood or the sequence bat? Now, I don't know what the sequence bat is. Maybe you do. Now I'm going to have to do a little Google search afterwards to find out. There's so many tools on the market that people talk about this tee or that tee. I'm like, I can't keep up with it all. But I'll tell you, I used the Camwood bats last year with our hitters. For me, I just used, I guess I don't know how they use it and teach with it in the marketing and stuff like that. For me, I use the Camwood bats just as heavy hand weighted bats. That's how I utilized them. Is they were bats that had heavy weight on the hands. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of end loaded and hand loaded, and giving a lot of variations to hitters. And so I used it strictly as a hand weighted bat, but again, I don't know if I'm utilizing it the right way that it was meant to be, but that's how I use it. What are some of your thoughts? Are there any cool bats, or I'll kind of expand on it. What do you think about there's a lot of people using the half bats right now. What's your what's your thoughts on any of those things from a bat training standpoint? Anything do you like or don't like?
Yeah, I like the axe bat, short bat, and axe bat, long bat. I've I've essentially created my own weighted bats too, of just taking a roll
Yeah.
of athletic tape, which is 3 ounces, and putting it on the end. And I like that, honestly, the end loaded, especially for kids in high school and younger, just because one of the bigger flaws is that disconnection when they're with their hands and shoulder as they're going into contact. So I think because when the weight's on the end of the bat, it forces them to stay connected a little longer, which is huge. So for me, I would say my favorite training bat is having with the weight on the end of the bat, because it helps them with the connection piece. I have seen the Camwood bat, and I have had players bring that in. I guess again, for me, it hasn't really clicked on how to use that with the players that I work with, just because again, I just the connection piece for me, it just makes sense with the players that I have to use it on the end of the bat.
Yeah.
I think that's where most high school and kids and younger, and really, I mean, other people too, but again, that's who I'm mainly working with most of the time.
Yep. And I would say for me, that is, of all the different variations of bat, end loaded with athletic tape on the very end is my most used bat. And my college players call it the tape bat. Like if you look on the board and it says a round of tape bat, they know what that is, because there's a huge roll of tape on the end of the bat, and we that's how all of our end loaded bats are. It costs about, if you coach at a college, you could just, or minor league team, you can kind of just steal a roll of tape, and so it doesn't cost you anything. But everybody else out there, you can create an end loaded bat for about $5. And there's just so many utilizations to that. For me, I love it for hitters that like to dump the barrel, or they drop their hands. Kind of having that extra weight forces them to kind of control the end of the barrel a little bit more, and not to be able to dump it early, especially if I've got someone who dumps the barrel just a little too early. It can kind of give them that feel of like, hey, you gotta hold this barrel up a little bit. So I'm a big fan of that. I'll tell you, we'll go 2 more questions tonight. This is a great question for you, Patrick. I thought this was really interesting. It says, what are your plans going into the season post-pandemic, with players missing so much game time, especially college kids and minor league? So, it's easy to say that everyone was working as hard as they always do in the last 10 months, but we all know there were guys that didn't do very much, and they come into spring training and it's like, whoa, you haven't done a whole lot. So in your mind, for people who have had this long time off and they really haven't put in as much work as they have in previous years, not playing games, what are your thoughts and plans on, how do we get, how are teams going to get these guys ready? Is it just business as usual, or is there some adjustments being made?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it's tough because I mean we don't even know when we're reporting yet, so it's hard. But I think that the biggest thing that we've emphasized to the guys is you got to make sure your body's ready. If your body's ready, we'll get your swing and all that. Like that will all come. You'll have plenty of time for reps on that. But if your body's not ready, then that's when injuries happen. And tell you what, that Sarasota sun, that hits you a little bit different than anything I've dealt with in Ohio. So your body will take a beating. So making sure that you're ready to roll from physically, just from that standpoint, just because you'll have time in the cage to get extra reps out on the field, plenty of time to get work in. And honestly, I think realizing that even though, yeah, you may not have played in a while, you can't panic if you start out struggling. You just can't. You have to kind of give yourself a, not be too hard on yourself just because you haven't seen live in a really long time. And I get, seeing live pitching indoors is one thing, but when the actual game is just you can't replicate that. So giving yourself some time to actually make that adjustment is going to be one of the things that I'm going to emphasize to our guys going forward.
Yeah, I like that. That's really good. All right. I think that's all the questions we have for tonight. Patrick, do me a favor. Tell us a little bit about, if we want to learn more about you and how to follow you. I have your Twitter handle on there, P Jones Baseball, and tell us a little bit about, send us home with, or any advice you want to give at all. But how, if we want to learn more about you and the stuff that you share, as I know you do a great job on Twitter, P Jones Baseball. What would be some other places if we wanted to learn more about you or follow you at all, Instagram or anywhere else, or any advice you want to share to the members out there? What do you got for us?
Yeah, so it's at P Jones Baseball on all my accounts, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I also have a podcast called Patrick Jones Baseball. New episode every week. Matt, you've been on, great guest, and great episode, very very popular. Not surprised just by the success you've had as a coach, but yeah, I would say honestly, my podcast is something that I'm really passionate about. I love doing just because I learned so much and able to learn from guys like you, Matt. So, but yeah, if you have any questions or anything, if you just shoot me a message on Twitter or Instagram, again at P Jones Baseball, I can definitely get back with you. But yeah, the podcast, it's like I said, it's Patrick Jones Baseball. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all the podcasting platforms, and it's around player development. So we'll have different mental game. We'll have different. I had a professor, or not professor. I had someone who works at Columbia on a couple weeks ago, and we talked about the mental game. Like I said, Matt came on and really did a great job explaining everything hitting and what he likes to do for his hitters in softball and in baseball. And we'll talk pitching too, fielding, everything, recruiting, college recruiting. So I really try to make it so it's like a one-stop shop for player development. That's been my goal. And I'm a hitting guy, so for me to have pitching guys on, that's a little tough at times. But I really do try to make it so it's a little bit of everything. So yeah, I mean, go check it out if you're into player development, which I'm sure everyone is. Who's watching this, because you wouldn't be here if you're not. So, but yeah, again, Matt, I appreciate you having me on. A big fan. Great stuff on Twitter. I enjoy sending your stuff out to even just softball coaches I know in the area who like the conversion charts and things like that. I know that that's a big help. So again, appreciate everything you do.
I appreciate that. And guys, I'll tell you, I've been a guest on Patrick Jones Baseball, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. I would say, if I was going to dig in and learn more from you, that's where I would go, and then recommend everybody else to go check out his podcast. Because the one thing I'm always kind of watching on when he tweets about new episodes, and I mean, you've had all kinds of really big names on there, from Anthony Apache, Darren Everson, Mike Bell. I mean, you've had a lot of big name guys on there, Adam Rosales, so if you're a podcast person, and you're a hitting person, which means if you're up this late on the East Coast, hopefully you're a little bit of a hitting person. Go check out his podcast. Check out Patrick on Twitter. Patrick, thanks for being a guest on this show. We'll have to bring you back another time later in the season and check in on you and bug you again with some more questions. So thanks for being on, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody has a great night, rest of the week. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.